O'Reilly.
You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
What you want, baby, I got it. What you need, do you know I got it? All I'm asking is for a little respect when you come on.
No issue with respect today. Massive respect for our brave men and women who, as you just heard me talk about there, along with Tunnel to Towers and WABC, respecting those folks who support our liberties and freedoms every day. Big parade coming up later on this afternoon. I'll be there. WABC will be there. Trolley, they got all these shows. John will be there. Katsimatidis. He'll join me in the 8 o'clock hour. Curtis, the great Curtis, he'll be doing his show from there. And Greg Kelly, thank you for your service. He served this country proudly. He'll be out there this afternoon, too, from 1 to 3. Noam Layden, who did not serve this country, but does a tremendous job with the news every day. He'll be out there. And don't forget, talking about serving this country, Tulsi Gabbard, who I believe played a huge role in the Trump victory. I really believe that. A former Democrat turned Republican and huge Trump supporter, now on the Trump transition team. She served this country proudly. She'll join me coming up at 7:45 this morning. Alex Traiman, my main man, the CEO of JNS.org. Love him out there live in Jerusalem this morning. I'm Yisrael Chai. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Sid. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Great to have you back on the program. I wanted to talk to you in Israel, since Trump won last Tuesday. And I know it's always anecdotal when I talk about my personal stories, but when I was there with you not that long ago, about 5 weeks ago, walking around all parts of Israel from Judea and Samaria to Gaza to, of course, Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, almost every Jew I bumped into wanted Donald Trump to win. He did win. So tell me what the mood was like on Wednesday in Israel after the Donald Trump victory.
Yeah, well, amazingly, there's probably more people per capita in Israel on a percentage basis that were happy that Donald Trump became president of the United States than there are Americans.
True. You're right.
Trump is probably more popular in Israel than in almost any other country around the world, to be honest.
Let me stop you for a second. When you say that, I believe that's true. And we know what Trump did for Israel. We've been going with this for 4 years, right? Moving the embassy to Jerusalem, recognizing the Golan Heights, the Abraham Accords, no more cash, crushing the Iran deal. We get all that. But my contention is this, is that not only do the Israelis appreciate what Trump did, but a lot of Israelis, I want to tell you, on Monday, October the 9th, 14 months ago, they were behind Biden. And they are no longer behind Biden. So my contention is part of the reason why Trump became so popular was, they missed him. But this administration, Biden, Harris, Blinken, all these phonies, they turned out to be anything but pro-Israel. Is there anything right to what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, certainly people got behind Biden on October the 9th because we didn't have a choice. Trump just wasn't the president then. We were hoping that despite all of the pressure that we've received over the last several years from the Obama administration and from the Biden administration, that, in our hour of need, that the Biden administration was going to come around and realize that Israel had to do what it had to do. But you see that this war is dragged on and on and on because of red lights that have been put in front of the IDF, in front of Prime Minister Netanyahu. Netanyahu has carefully steered through and around and over those red lights and has managed to really succeed in moving the war forward in a positive way, despite the fact that really the Biden administration turned into a frenemy, at best, and an adversary, at worst. And there's a feeling now that President Trump is going to put the full weight of the United States diplomacy and military behind the state of Israel to go finish these wars against Hamas in Gaza, against Hezbollah in Lebanon, and hopefully even against Iran itself, and hopefully even take out the nuclear facilities, which are the greatest threat to regional stability.
Yeah, let's not forget that President Trump stuck his foot on the neck of Iran. Over 1,500 sanctions. He averaged one sanction a day. They were completely broke. And in very, very quick time, Biden and Harris and all these animals, they made sure that they weren't broke. And they started to fund all these proxies, the Houthis and Hamas and Hezbollah. And now you got yourself a war. But let's not forget, this is personal with Trump, too. I mean, they just arrested 3 guys less than a week ago here that are trying to kill Donald Trump. So not only is Trump pissed at Iran for what they did to Israel because he's very pro-Israel, but they're trying to kill him. That's even better for you guys, yes?
I would think so. We see that Trump likes to take things personally, and it shouldn't just have to be personal. What Iran has done, it used to be back in the day, if a country would come in and destabilize so many other countries, that the United States would be the global policeman and put a stop to it. And here you have Iran has completely destabilized Iraq, completely destabilized Syria, destabilized Lebanon, destabilized Gaza, destabilized Yemen. The whole region's up in flames. Israel's fighting a 7-front war right now. And Iran has sent hundreds of ballistic missiles directly at the state of Israel. So, people are looking at the United States right now, and they're just laughing. I do expect that President Trump is going to restore law and order in the region, and that starts by taking out the heads of the largest state sponsor of terror, not only in the region but around the world. And just wait to see. These guys are saying they're racing towards nuclear weapons. You see what they've done before they have nuclear weapons. If these guys cross the nuclear threshold, I mean, God help us all. Yep. Honestly,
you're right.
It could be horrific.
No, it could be. You're right. There was a report last week, and the Trump haters say it's not true. It's not true. It's been proven not true. But there was a report that Hamas last week, literally moments after Trump won, was like, "Okay, we give up. We're done." I don't know if that's true or not, but that was in Newsweek, I believe. Any truth to that? That Hamas after Trump won was like, "All right, let's figure this thing out."
Well, they're still fighting going on, but I do believe that Iran and Hezbollah and Hamas, they understand that the gig is up. They always thought that the Biden administration would prevent Israel from going the distance, and fortunately, Israel has had numerous successes in the war, but now has the biggest success of all, which is getting the United States clearly back on its side. And you heard Netanyahu, he released a statement just yesterday saying that he's spoken to Donald Trump 3 times already since the election.
And by the way, that's important because Joe Biden went months, him and Harris went months without speaking to Bibi.
Right. And Netanyahu in this statement said that he and President Trump see eye to eye on the Iranian threat. So, I mean, that's delivering a very, very strong message. And if you recall, right before the election, there were big threats that Iran would retaliate once again against Israel. They were saying that this time they might send as many as 400 ballistic missiles at Israel, either on the day before the election, on the day of the election. Well, guess what? The election came and went, and everybody sees that Donald Trump won by a landslide, and nobody is reporting that Iran is right on the cusp of sending an attack. Message delivered. I think that they understand that if they do this now, that they're going to become the targets. So, they're definitely recalculating, and they're going to have to figure out what their new strategy is. They may try to play very nice right now and bring these conflicts to a close, just in the hopes that they don't get blown to smithereens themselves.
God, I love that. See, that's great news, talking about these countries, these enemies, but everyday folks, it's still bad out there. Anti-Semitism is still horrendous, Donald Trump or not. We saw what happened, that pogrom in Amsterdam last week. That was brutal. And I have to tell you that today, this is unbelievable. On the campus of Columbia University, at this point, you shouldn't be shocked about anything, but on the campus of Columbia University here in New York on Veterans Day, when most New Yorkers and most proud Americans will honor the brave men and women who make the sacrifice every day, they're actually honoring the martyrs, they're calling them. And those are the folks that carry out Hamas, the Intifada, all those. Right here on a New York campus, they're not honoring our veterans, they're honoring Hamas and these other militants. It's hard to believe. So Trump wins, but whether it's Amsterdam or Columbia here in New York, there are still very scary things going on promoting anti-Semitism all across the world.
Yeah, well, the American people spoke and said that they don't want any more of this progressive wokeism being installed throughout all the infrastructure in the United States. But as like General Michael Flynn tweeted this week, he said the election is not the victory. The election is day one. And so the question is going to be, what can Donald Trump do to make sure that universities that promote this type of anti-Israel and anti-Semitic behavior on the campuses become ineligible for federal funding.
By the way, just so you know, I had Elise Stefanik on this show on Friday. You remember, Alex, when she hammered the presidents of MIT, Harvard, Penn, Northwestern, and I asked her that. I said, that flat-out question on Friday, she's now going to be, of course, the UN ambassador, but I said, hey, what can Donald Trump do to stop it? And she said exactly what you just said. He's going to stop allowing funds to these universities. Bottom line.
Yeah, there's a lot of tools, and I think that Donald Trump now has the experience to know how to use the leverage. I mean, he's a businessman at the end of the day, and he's going to figure out how to use the leverage that he has to get the policies that he wants accomplished done. You mentioned Elise Stefanik and going over to the UN, which is a place where Israel definitely needs a lot of support. And even though Trump won the election, there's still about 70 days until he takes office. And so there's definitely worry here in Israel that the Biden administration could seek to harm Israel, even by doing things as abstaining from nasty resolutions against the Jewish state in the UN Security Council, that the International Criminal Court could begin issuing arrest warrants for Prime Minister Netanyahu and other members of the defense establishment here, that you could have advances in the South African charges of genocide against Israel at the International Court of Justice. And the Biden administration could still allow these things to happen. They could slap sanctions on other residents in Judea and Samaria and elsewhere in Israel. So there's definitely things that the Biden administration can do, and it will be up to President Trump during this period to, again, to make it clear what leverage he has against all of these institutions if they do try to take advantage of this period and try to level harm on Israel before he steps into office.
Although Biden, of course, is saying all the right things. In fact, Biden's going to meet with Trump at the White House. He's invited Trump to come by 11 a.m. Wednesday morning, something that Trump did not do for Biden. Biden is going to do it and kind of hand off the football. And he also said he will be at the inauguration. So, one breath he says threat to democracy, but the next breath he says, okay, we'll figure this thing out. On the way out, the American government sucks. Now it doesn't. We got Trump. But this administration, for the better part of 3.5 years, sucked in every aspect, and especially when it came to you guys in Israel. But in all fairness, when our men and or women went to Israel, or even around the world there when the Houthis were attacking to help protect you guys, they did a tremendous job. They always do. So on this Veterans Day here in the United States, what is your message, Alex Traiman, from Jerusalem to the brave men and women that fight for you guys, too, here in America?
Yeah, for a country over here that has just so many veterans, and we literally have had over 300,000 soldiers, pick up arms in this last 13 months. So, we understand that having the freedoms that you have doesn't come free. The state of Israel was not just built on the Bible. It was built with a Bible in one hand and a gun in the other. And we still have to raise arms, and people have to appreciate the freedoms that they have, and people have to be willing to put their lives on the line to defend those freedoms. When people are willing to put their lives on the line to defend the freedoms, that's what makes the country great. I think that's what makes Israel great. America doesn't fight those wars anymore with the same type of intensity that we're fighting them over here. It's much more existential. But people in America should realize that their country was built on the backs of individuals that were willing to give up their lives to defend their freedoms.
Well said, Alex. You are the best, man. Alex Traiman, the CEO of JNS.org. Any news you want on Israel, any news, that's the place to go, JNS.org. Happy Veterans Day, and I'll see you very, very soon right here in New York, Alex. Thank you so much.
Looking forward. Thanks so much, Sid.
Me too, buddy. Great job. Alex Traiman, once again, the CEO of JNS.org.